Hi guys, my name is Teresa. Today I'm going to be going over my HRCYED hardest reading challenge you'll ever do, round 2 bingo board. Hi guys, I am once again outside filming because I am trying to take as much advantage of the nice weather as possible. I didn't realize, but it is 7:26 in the evening. It doesn't look like it outside, so I'm hoping I can get to this video before it gets dark. It doesn't really get dark till 9, but like, we'll see how the lighting situation does. And it's also a little bit chilly right now, so we'll see. I might have to end up moving inside, but I'm gonna do my best. Apologies if the sound is not the greatest. I have having issues with my microphone right now, and I have a very short window in which I can actually film this video. So we're just gonna work with it, and hopefully this sound is okay. But for majority of this video, I will be looking down, looking at my computer, and my computer screen will be on the screen, and I'll be just a tiny little box, just like this. So here you go. Here's my computer screen. Hopefully you guys can see it okay. Hopefully my computer doesn't die, it's plugged in. But I've been having a lot of issues with it lately, so like, fingers crossed this video can get done. And apologies about background noises. As I said, I am outside and I don't have a microphone. Okay, let's get started before all my electronics die on me. Okay, so here we are at the introduction. And let's go ahead and go to the bingo board, and you will see that I have, let me zoom out because it's hard to get all in one. I am very far away from a bingo and even farther from a blackout. I don't know if it'll happen this year. I really don't, but I'm gonna try. Okay, so as you can see on my screen, everything that is white and purple is not yet finished. All of the green squares I have finished. So that means I've finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 25 bingo squares. Not great. And like 6 is enough to have a bingo, but they're nowhere in bingo order. So let's just go ahead and go through and I'll kind of show you what I have. Okay, so go to my tracker. I am going to zoom in a little bit more just so you guys aren't like completely have issues here. So here we have title, author, and I will not be going through all of the books. I'm going to be going very quickly through this just so you guys can kind of get an idea of what's happening, and then we'll move on. The month I read the book, page count, audio hours, first prompt. So if it works for a prompt, the prompt is filled in. If it doesn't work for a prompt, it's not filled in. Second prompt, because you can do 2 prompts per book. How many points I earned. I know points like give you things, but I haven't really been paying attention to that. I'm just tracking them. Rating, genre, status, whether it's new or reread. Intended audience, adult through children. Format, novel, picture book, graphic novel, that sort of thing. Means read, audiobook, physical book. If it's part of a series, the series status, the year I personally acquired the book, the year the book was released, the publisher, the color of the cover, the country, if the book took place in our world, what country it took place in, and if it took place in America, what state did it take place in, whether or not the book was a non-Earth setting, how much I paid for the book, the date I started the book, the date I finished the book, and how many days to read the book. Now, I apologize because there's probably going to be a little bit of scrolling here for a minute, so just hang on. I'm going to quickly scroll to the bottom here. This started last July of 2025, and we're currently in May of 26. So like I said, we have pretty much June, a few days in July, and a few days that are left because it is the 23rd of May. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do any more. This time I only have like 1 book to finish, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so we're not going to pay much attention to this page. It doesn't really matter right now. points calculator. Again, this doesn't really matter as far as what I'm going to be showing you guys. The only thing I've used my points for is, I'm going to scroll here to the left, is right here you can see that I have earned some rereads, and that's very important because I have used some rereads. So I have quite a bit of stuff unused down here, but I'm not really paying attention to the points. I'm mainly just trying to work the bingo board. Okay, let's go to the stats. This one is the fun one, right? So as of right now, and this includes the 2 or 3 books, I think 3 books that I'm actually in the middle of. I haven't quite finished them yet, but there's at least 3 books that I'm currently active in. So total books, we have 119. We've read 119 books from July, I believe it's July 7th to today, the 23rd of May. So that's pretty cool. 5,192 pages. Now granted, if a book is read in an audiobook format, I don't count the pages. So if I did, that'd be bigger. That would be a much bigger number. I only count physical pages that I physically read. Total hours spent, this is the big one, 565.79 hours that I have spent listening to audiobooks so far. That's wild. I have spent $210.66 on books, which, considering that I've read 119, I would say that's pretty good. Pretty good, because majority of my books are from the library. On average, it takes me about a little under 4 days to read a book, 3.83 days. My average rating is 3.55. I think part of that is lower because there are certain books that I don't rate. Like I don't rate a lot of children's books. I don't rate a lot of nonfiction, so I put a 0 in. I'm sure that's lowered my average by a lot, and I will I'll have to look into that because that's not the best. Okay. The average, again, the pages thing doesn't really equate because I'm only writing down or tracking the actual physical pages I've read. So the average pages per book is 44.38. And that is because I've read a lot of children's and picture books for very specific things that I was doing. So the average book I read in general is somewhere between like around the 300 range, but just these are my HRCYED stats. So this doesn't reflect my actual reading, it just reflects the HRCYED stats. Yeah. Average, about 5 hours is the average hour that it takes me to read an audiobook, because I normally read an audiobook on 1.5 to 2 times speed, depending on this book. I have gained 498 points, which again, I don't really care about. Most common acquisition year was 2025, so that's when I acquired said book. I've read 22 books out of this world, and July of last year, I believe September too, because it shows September down here. I believe July and September are tied for the most amount of books I read in a month. Which if this would have gone in June, it would have been more, because June is the Amazing Readathon, and I read a lot of books for that. My prompts, you can see here, I'm not really going to list these off, but you can kind of see, because we'll go through that in a minute, what I've read for that. Let's go back up here to countries, and I'm going to zoom in, so hang on. Okay, now for countries, this is like the fun part of the stats that I love. I have read 55 books from the United States, which is where I'm from, so it kind of makes sense that majority of the books I pick up just happen to be set here. And these stats are tracking where the book itself is set, not where the author is from. I do track that as well, but this is, again, just HRCYED stats. HRCYED stats. So 3 books have been placed in Canada, 1 book in Iceland, 1 in Norway, 7 in England, 2 in France. What's that tiny one? That's also France. Okay. 1 in Greece. I'm pretty sure I have 1 that was in Israel, but I don't know if it'll catch it. 1 in the Congo, 1 in Namibia, 1 in Madagascar, 1 in India, 1 in Mongolia, 2 in Japan, 3 set in Australia, I do have one from the Bahamas, one in Puerto Rico, one in the Bahamas. That's Hawaii, yeah. And I'm positive that I have one, yes, one in Israel. So those are all of the countries that I have read so far. And as far as the states, I've read 5 set in Washington, 3 in Oregon, 6 in California, 1 in Idaho, 1 in Montana, 1 in Nebraska, 2 in Colorado, 1 in Wisconsin, 1 in Illinois, 1 in Louisiana, 2 in Kentucky, 2 in Tennessee, 1 from Georgia, 3 in North Carolina, 1 in Virginia, 1 in Maryland, 2 in Pennsylvania, 1 in New Jersey, 3 in New York, 1 in Massachusetts, 1 in New Hampshire, and 1 in Maine. So those are all of the states that I have read from during HRCYED. Publishers, let's see, my most published would be Penguin at 25.8%. And then actually I think independent technically is more, so 26.7. The main reason for this is because I've done a couple challenges where I've read a lot of picture books, and a lot of those picture books were independent, so they still count because like they're books and they're published by independent press. But if we're talking my middle grade on up, Penguin is the most common. And then next we have, it looks like Macmillan and HarperCollins are tied at 15.8% apiece. And then Simon & Schuster, Scholastic, Sourcebooks, and Hachette. So those are the publishers that I read from the most, or I have read from the most during HRCYED. I don't look at publishers when I'm picking books. Very, very rarely do I pay attention to who the publisher is. So it's kind of interesting to see these stats that like I gravitate more towards like Penguin books than anything else, which is really interesting. I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna scroll again, so apologies. I'm gonna scroll back to genres. Okay, so as far as genre goes, I'm not gonna go in depth on this. I'm just gonna tell you my top 3. My top 3 are mythological fantasy, which is 14 books or 11.8%. Then we have nonfiction, which this is surprising to me because I do not consider myself a nonfiction reader as much as I love nonfiction. I don't consider myself to read nonfiction a whole lot, but I've read 12 of them so far during the HRCYED season. That stands for 10.1% of my reading. And then in third place is mystery thriller, which is 7.6% and or 9 books. Now these are of course going by subgenres, so yeah, I'm not going to go farther into that because we need to move on and get this video done. So this shows me how I have read each book. So 65.8% or 79 books have been audiobook, which is actually impressive that it's not a bigger number, I will say. Then we have physical and audio, so that's tandem reading. I have 5.8% or 7 books. Hardback, so physically reading a hardback book, 17.5 or 21, 1 or 7.5% hardcover. 4 ebooks, which is surprising because I like ebooks are my least favorite means because I don't have an e-reader, and so I think if I had an e-reader this number would probably be higher, but I don't. So that is 4 ebooks at 3.3%, and I have read 9 paperbacks and 7.5%. Going on to series, 53.3% of my reads have been standalones, which I think tracks for most years. That is, it's like 50-50 as far as series and standalones go. So that's 64 books. I have 16 in progress books, which I read 16 books that were in progress, means they weren't the first, they weren't the last of the series. So 13.3%. 3 books or 2.5% of the books were up to publication. 28 books or 23.3% was a series I started, and 9 books or 7.5% is a series I finished. New versus reread, this is what I was kind of talking about before. 95.8% of books I've read are new to me. That is 115. And then out of the rereads, I read 5 books, which was 4.2%, were rereads. Going down to publication year, looks like the top 3 years I have read from are 2025 at 25 books or 20.8%. Next would be 2023 at 16 books or 13.3%. And last would be, or third, not last, but third is 2022 at 11.7% and 14 books. So I think that's kind of interesting. Okay. Audience, 53 books or 44.2% of my reads have been for adults. 24 books or 20% have been young adult. 19 books or 15.8% have been children's books. 22 books or 18.3% was middle grade, and 2 books, 1.7, were new adult. So cover colors, this is fun too, and this is not on purpose. It just shows you the type of books that I gravitate towards. So the most popular cover I have read is blue. I've read 31 books with blue covers. Then we have 17 books with a green cover, 15 books with a black cover, and 12 books with a purple color. So you can kind of see where my tendency leans as far as color of cover, which is really interesting. You know, I'm not like purposely picking blue books or whatever. It just happens to be my favorite color apparently when it comes to books. So I'm not going to be going over this stat. Sorry if you hear the dog barking in the background. These are my most read authors. So far I have read 6 books from Salvatore here, 4 books from Jessica R. Patch, and 4 books from Michael Brum. I'm not going to be going any more, guys, because as you can see, as I scroll, there's quite a bit of authors. But those are the 3 top authors I've read so far. Okay, now let's get into the fun stuff, which, I mean, I think stats are fun, but let's go into the actual board. So here we have by the hundreds. Now, if you see over here, what I'm highlighting, this is not clicked, even though there is a picture in every one of these. That is because I know which book I'm reading for the one I haven't done yet, so I just went ahead and put the picture in here. But it is not yet in my stats, and that is Inkheart by Cornelia Funk. So this is basically, you read a book with 100 pages, 200 pages, 300 pages, 400, 500, 600, and 700 or more pages. I have yet to read a book with 600 pages in it. It's basically between $6 and $6.99. I think you guys get the gist. But Inkheart is my hopeful that I'll be reading, and then I can click this one off. Then next up we have the 24-hour readathon. This is actually like a from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep. So you don't get to go to sleep and then wake up and then continue counting hours. It's like, okay, between this time and this time, within 24 hours, how long or how many books could you get read from waking to sleeping? I haven't done this yet because I just haven't. I'm hoping that maybe sometime in June, I will have a day where I can just read all day long. Apologies about the crows. They're all upset because earlier there was a hawk that they were chasing off. So yeah, this one I haven't done yet. Should be fairly easy. I mean, even if I only read one book, it still counts because like it's within the 24 hours, you know? After that, I think we have some completed ones. So we have subgenres of choice, which as you can see here, guys, I've completed this. This is my first completion. And so I chose fantasy. Basically, you choose which genre, like main genre you want to read from, and then you pick subgenres and read from those subgenres. So I chose fantasy. I read a paranormal fantasy with Nightshade by Angela Kramer. A sci-fi, The Last Dragon on Mars was a sci-fantasy. Historical fantasy, Salvation, a romantasy, The Poison Season, mythological fantasy, Bemused, and fairy tale fantasy, Among the Beasts and Briars. I'm gonna hide this sheet again because I've completed that. Then we have series Staircase, guys. I need to really step up my game. I read a solo book, which was Bemused, and each book can count for 2 prompts, by the way. I think I said that. For duology, I have Off the Grid, and then I cannot remember what the second one is, but they are middle grade books following Maisie Lockwood from the Jurassic World series in between movie 2 and 3. So I need to read the second one. Okay, for trilogy, we have Her Darkest Secrets, A Cry in the Dark, and The Garden Girls by Jessica R. Patch. I will say Garden Girls, one of my favorite books of last year. Highly, highly, highly recommend this trilogy. But check your trigger warnings, because it's dark. And then for a series with 4 or more, we have Cryptid Hunters by Roland Smith. Now, I have not yet read Tentacles. I started it, that's why I put it on here. But I only read like a chapter and then put it down. But this is a 4-book series, so I'm hoping to read Tentacles, in which the next one after that, I think, is Chupacabra, and then the last one is Mutation, I think. So that is what I'm hoping to read for series Staircase. After series Staircase, we have award season. Now, this could be any awards, and it doesn't have to be all the same awards. So the awards that I chose from, I have quite a few here. We have the Academy Award, Libby Award, Christie Award, Goodreads Award, David Award, Audie Award for Young Adult, and Rhode Island Teen Book Award. Those are all of the places that I got these books from. So you have to pick 2 winners, 2 finalists, 2 semifinalists, and an entrant. So Arsenic Adobo and Air both won, were winners of their set awards. Shattered Sanctuary and Alchemy of Secrets were both finalists in their given events that they were in or awards that they were in. For semifinalists, we have The Fossil Hunter and The Muse of Nightmares, and for entrant, we have Caraval. Now, I know Caraval has won some awards, but the award that I found they were entered in but did not proceed farther. So it counts. I'm counting it. Let's go ahead and hide this so I remember this one is done. Next up, we have TBR Game Challenge, where basically you pick someone else's TBR game and play it. I have yet to do that. So I'm not sure who, like, I have my own TBR game that I play, but you can't do your own. You gotta pick someone else's. So I have yet to do this. I don't know if I'm going to. I would love to, because there are so many really awesome games out there. I just haven't had the time. So let's move on to the last 10 years. I have all but 1 book to read, guys. 1 book left on this, or I have all but read 1 book. How would you say that? The only book that I have not read on this entire list is this Mortal Coil right here. Oops. Uh-oh, there we go. That is the only one I haven't read. So this was either pick a book. You have to read a book from every year, from either 2015 to 2025 or 2016 to 2026, considering that this takes place over it goes from July to July. I decided to do 2025 or 2015 to 2025. So these are all of the books I've read. I don't think I'm going to continue saying off the names of the books, guys, because I'm going to be here forever if I do. So apologies. All I know is I have this Mortal Coil left, which was in 2017. If I read that book, then I can check this one off and say it's done. But it's not done yet, so I can't check it off. Okay. Next is adaptations. I don't think I'm going to be finishing this one, to be perfectly honest with y'all. You either had to partake in the source material or the adaptation. Either or, you didn't have to do both. So for modern retelling, I did actually read both. So the source material is A Study in Scarlet by Arthur Conan Doyle, which is Sherlock Holmes' first mystery. And the modern retelling was A Study in Scarlet. For musical, I chose Phantom of the Opera. and I'm probably just gonna rewatch the movie because I love it so. Oopsie, I hit a button. But I haven't done that yet. Graphic novel comic, I don't have. Maybe I'll watch like a Marvel movie or something. That might count. For play, I own this book, so I was hoping to get to it. It is 2 plays by Edward Albee. So we'll see if I read or watch the source or the adaptation. TV show, I read and I watched A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. For web series, I found this book called Into the Dust. It's based off a web series, so we'll see if I ever get to that. Animation, I have nothing for. And then a movie, I watched A Muppet's Christmas Carol, and of course, the source material is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to be finishing this one, but that's what I have so far. Disability challenge. I have 1 more disability. I technically have 2, okay, to go here, because this one here for Lyme disease, I haven't read yet, and I might switch this out for a different disability. I personally have Lyme disease, and I really, really, really want to do a vlog while I read books about Lyme disease and kind of bring awareness to it. But I know it's going to take a lot out of me emotionally. Like, I have started this book in the past, but it was so heavy for me that I had to put it down. This is a thriller where a man infects a woman with Lyme disease. It's wild. The author herself, its own voices, the author herself does have Lyme disease, and I'm really, really excited for it, but I don't know if I'm going to get to it or not, so I might choose a different one for this. I have read Octopus Moon, which features anxiety and depression. I have read Woman in Shadows, which features PTSD, and I have read Gone at Midnight, which focuses on bipolar. Now, you cannot read the same disability twice. It has to be different disabilities. Like props or bonus points if you read Own Voices. I do have a list of potentials down here, as you can see. We have some books, so if I read any of these 2, if I don't get to that one, they will count for this prompt. Disability representation is very, very important to me, as I am myself disabled. So yeah, I will get to this. I'm not gonna say I might. I will get to this before we're done. Then we're gonna go to Heritage Months. I've been trying to read a book each heritage in the month that is the Heritage Month. So like July, Disability Pride. September, October is Hispanic Heritage Month. November is Indigenous Heritage. So I was trying to read a book by an author of that heritage, whatever it is, in said month. April was a very difficult reading month for me, so unfortunately I did not get to read a book by an Arab author in April. I do have books that I have read by Arab authors like before April that I could totally 100% use for that. I just haven't plugged them in yet. But again, I was trying to read it during the month of. So April didn't work for that, but I will do my best to find one that I've read or just read another one and put it in there. May is Jewish Heritage Month, and we are currently in May, and we also have in May AAPI Heritage, which is Asian American Pacific Islander. I have read a book for Jewish Heritage. I've just forgot to put it in, or I didn't read it in May. So I'm planning on reading the book, which I don't have the picture for it yet. It's Max in the House of Spies. I think it was the one I read before. It's like the duology. It's a sequel to that. It's World War II kind of fantastical spy novel with middle grade spy novel. And the author is Jewish, or has Jewish heritage, I believe. I'm pretty sure that he had family members, or if not his family, friends of the family were in the Holocaust. So I want to read that middle grade book this month. That would count for this one. And then I need to check. I don't think I read anything yet for API, but I definitely would like to get that read. Again, I want to do it this month because that is the month. Oof. the bugs are coming out. That is the month that it is. So I want to be able to celebrate that. And then June is, of course, Pride. I don't know what I'm reading for that. I've already read. I do have books that could count for that. So I believe with that one, it needs to be like the main character is queer or the author or something like that. So yeah, I am sure I will read something along those lines in June. But this one I should hopefully have finished. Translation challenge is up next. Now, I'm not doing well in this at all. So far I only have 2. I have Japanese and German. Now, I only speak, read, and understand English because I'm an American. I know a little Spanish, probably enough to like read a picture book, but I mean, and that could count totally, but not enough to like actually read anything more than a very, very basic little book. I actually have read multiple German books translated from German, which is interesting, but you can't use the same language twice. So unfortunately, that's all I got. I do have a huge list here of options of different books that are all translated into English, because it has to be translated from a different language into your language. It can't be like, at least I'm pretty sure it can't be like a book that was originally written in your language that was translated to something else. It has to be a book that was originally written in a language that you don't speak. So anything that was translated into English that wasn't originally in English will count for this. This is a list of books that I could choose from. So will I get to that? I don't know. Knowing that I only have like a month left, probably not, but we'll see. Okay, around the world. This one I am hoping to get to, because you don't have to count Antarctica if you don't want to. I would like to, but the only place I have to read from, so we have North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, and bonus, Antarctica. I still need to read a book that takes place in South America and a book that takes place in Antarctica. If I read one in South America and I don't get to Antarctica, it would still count. I own a book that takes place in South America, so that's City of Beasts. That's what I got there. And then as far as Antarctica, there are 3 options here that I could choose from. So again, I'm hoping to get to that before the end of HRCYED, but everything's up in the air, y'all. Okay, even bigger rainbow. The only one I have left for this is yellow. I need to read a yellow book, and the only yellow book I can think of, y'all, is Yellowface. And I have no desire to read that. That's not really the type of book. It's more lit-fic, and it's not really what I read. So I'm like, if any of you all know like a thriller or a fantasy, not like romance, but just straight up fantasy that has a yellow cover, please let me know, because I would love to read a book with a yellow cover so I could complete this one. We have red, orange, yellow, green, teal, light blue, blue, purple, pink, black, white, silver, gold, and 7 or more colors. I swear, guys, I'm never gonna get this video filmed. There's so much happening. Oh my gosh. If I had a microphone, it wouldn't be as bad, but... so, okay, we can see Divine Rivals here. It doesn't look very white in the picture, but I own this book, and trust me, guys, it's white. Yes, so the only one I have left to read is a book with a yellow cover, and I can't find any. So if you all have any suggestions, please do let me know down in the comments. Then we have Make a Quote. Yo, I thought I was being so clever with this one, and I was like, oh, this is so great, one of my favorite quotes. And I'm gonna zoom out just a little bit so you guys can see the whole thing. But then I realized how gosh darn difficult it is to find a book that has these words in it. I'm like, how? Because some of these, there's the word so, there's the word not, there's the word they. How am I having such difficulty finding this? So the quote I chose was, your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, comma, they didn't stop to think if they should. If you know who that quote is by, leave it down in the comments below. One of my favorite quotes of all time. And realized I probably should have picked something that was much, much easier to work with. I was gonna do Welcome to Jurassic Park, but then I was like, well, I thought that was more restricting. No. Okay. If she brings us back, I'm definitely going to be choosing a much easier quote because my gosh. Yeah, so far I've actually, yours truly, Jack the River, I haven't even actually read it. I started it and put it down, so I've only actually read 3 for this. This one is not getting completed. Then we have Spooky Creatures, and I have finished this one. I'm so excited to say I have finished Spooky Creatures. So we had to read a book with a vampire, a shifter, and this is a shifter of any kind. I chose a like werewolf type shifter, a magic user, so it doesn't have to be a witch, doesn't have to be a warlock, doesn't have to be any specific type of magic, like any named person. It just has to be someone that can use magic. And so I chose Sylvan the Bone for that. Fae, spirit, so like a ghost or, you know, kind of thing. Merfolk, zombie, and other creature, and I chose Mothman for other creature because that is a cryptid. And yeah, oh, so we can see down here I have vampire, werewolf, sorceress, evil tooth fairy, which is fae, ghosts, siren, zombie, and cryptid. That is what I chose for Spooky Creatures. I'm going to go ahead and hide that again because I am finished with it. Now, Become the Avatar. I did finish this one. This one you could either do word or cover. You did not have to do both. You could, of course, do both for next challenge. And I was going to try, and I was like, this ain't working out for me. So I chose to go with the cover image. So we had water, and this element has to be on the cover. Water, earth, fire, air. If you're doing the word, that element had to be in the name of the title. So we've got water, we've got earth, we've got fire, and then this represents air because you can see there's birds flying and there is lightning in the background. So I'm saying that's air, which means I have completed this. So that one's done. Readathon challenge. I've also completed this one. I took place in TBR Harvest, which is hosted by Leander from Leander the TBR Zero. And these are all of the prompts that I had. And this is everything that I completed. So you didn't have to like complete the readathon, you just had to take part in it. And I did. So we're gonna hide this because this is also done. Then we have animals, and you guys would think, if you know me, right, you would think that this would have been the very first one I had filled out. Yeah, I don't know why. Why can I not? I've read so many books that have like that repeat animals, and I'm like, no, but I need a different one. So the way this works is you have house pets, exotic pets, and she said exotics for you. Like if you live in southern Florida, an alligator is not an exotic to you because they're wild animals that are like in your backyard. For me, an alligator is exotic because we don't have alligators in Oregon, not native anyways. So they can't survive outside. So that would be like exotic for me would be an alligator. Haven't done anything for that yet. Farm animals, wild animals, and again, wild animals for you, like what is wild in your natural area or your country, your state, your whatever, your region. And then zoo animals, which again is the same thing, is an animal that you would see at the zoo. You know, so like, I mean, my zoo technically has animals from from around me. Like they have bald eagles, which I do see from time to time flying around. But I think the gist of it is like, it'd be like a zebra. Because like, there are no zebras. I don't think my zoo even has zebras anymore. So let's go with a lion, right? I guess lion could also be an exotic pet, but like, we're just gonna, yeah, it'd be a zoo animal because you see it in a zoo. That's the idea. Okay. House pets. I read a book that had both cat and a dog in it. For farm animals, I read a book with sheep. Highly recommend Three Big Soul, by the way. Check it out if you haven't already. And for wild animals, I read books with orcas or killer whales. I guess I should change that to porpoise because they're technically not a whale. But it's called Galaxy of Whales. So whatever. This one I really hope I finish. I mean, come on, animals. How can I not, right? Okay. Then we have the Queer Alphabet, and this one, I am not necessarily seeking anything out for this. I'm just kind of like organically reading books, and if they happen to have a character that fits one of these, then I count it for this. Paleontologist I actually have not finished, so that one is still in the works. Lesbian, bisexual, pansexual, transgender, intersex, asexual, polyamory, non-gender or non-binary, agender, or gender fluid two-spirit. Probably won't finish this one, to be 100% honest with you, but that is what I have so far. Then we have favorite HRCYED prompt, or favorite HRCYED round 1 prompt. I was very, very excited for this one, and I just haven't even looked at anything. So here is the list. Let me zoom out a little bit more. Here's a list of all of the prompts from the year before that you could do. And the one I chose to do, let me zoom back in, was find a book with 3 or more blurbs and read the books from each of the blurbed authors as well as the one you picked. So I thought that was so fun, right? Find a book with a bunch of blurbs and read all the authors. Haven't done it. Yeah, so I haven't even looked, guys. That one probably not going to get finished. Next up we have BIPOC Challenge. I'm really close on this one, really close. I think if I'm able to do the AAPI and Jewish, I should actually have this finished. So you cannot read from the same nationality, or if it's say like Native American, you can read from different tribes. Like I have Ojibwe, and so I could read from Ojibwe, I could read from Cherokee, but I can't read 2 from Ojibwe. If that makes sense. So I have Pakistani, Japanese, Mexican, Ojibwe, Filipino, Indian, like from India, Black, and Korean is everything I've read so far. And then down here I have a whole list of options of authors who would fit this prompt. So if I read any of these books, I might have 2 Jewish ones here, so I would have to read one or the other. Actually, I am reading Princess Bride this month, so I forgot that the author is Jewish. So that works. That means I have one more to go. This one I should also hopefully have finished, no problem. Okay, let's move on to new releases. This one, I failed. I failed it straight up. You're supposed to read a book the year it comes out, like either you read a new release, but you can read it on either month. So like if a new release, like this book here, Beast Becomes Her, came out in March, if I had an arc to it, I could read it in February and counted it, or I could read it in April and count it, because it's like it's either the month before, the month of, or the month after, you can count it. And as you guys might be able to see, I failed. We are currently in May. And I cannot go back to September, November, December, January, or February to read a book. I can still do May, June, July, but yeah, I've already failed this one. So I know for a fact this one is not going to work for me. Challenge yourself. You make your own challenge and go with it. I've done nothing. Nothing with this one. I had good intentions. My challenge was to read and review arcs that I have not yet read. I, back in the day, used to go on Goodreads and enter in for like absolutely everything possible to win. And unbeknownst to me, especially back when I first started doing that, there weren't as many people entering into things, so I won a lot of books and I won a lot of arcs. And I also went on NetGalley, like most of us do, and requested a lot of books and got a lot of books and haven't read them because that's just the way things are. So I was like, well, I can read and review previous arcs that I have because I still would like to read them. I still would like to review them because that's the whole reason that I was given them. Haven't done it. So yeah, we're just gonna pretend that doesn't exist. Moving on to nonfiction. I have completed this one. So this one was basically you could not read about the same exact topic. So her Q's example was you could read a book about birds and you could read a book about a birder, like a bird watcher. So they both have to do with birds, but they're about different topics, but you can't read 2 books about birds. So I chose to read a book about cryptids, a book about ocean animals, or a true crime book, because that's nonfiction, a book about paleontology, and a book that deals around a fandom. I didn't know what else to categorize this as, so this is a nonfiction following the history of Batman, which was amazing. So I have completed this challenge, and I can say, hide sheet. And I believe the very last one that I have is Q's recommendations, and we had to go on her platforms and find recommendations. We had to find a mini review, a fall reading vlog, and a YouTube short, TikTok, or Instagram reel, and pick a book from said thing. The books I picked were Blood Over Brighthaven, Seafire, and Hera. And we either have to put that it's worse than what she said, it's even better than what she said, or you fully agree. I haven't read these yet, so these down here are just there so I know what options I have. But I have not read any of these 3 books, so I don't know if I agree, disagree, or whatever. Yeah, guys, so that's HRCYED. Let me go back to the bingo board. So that is HRCYED, y'all. That is everything that I have read so far from, again, I believe it was July 7. I could be a little bit off on the date, but I'm pretty sure it was July 7. And I have until July 6th, or is it 9th? I don't know. I gotta check the dates. I'll put the date here. I have until that day in July, which is the day before it ends, because like it goes from, you know, it's like a full year worth of 365 days to try and get as many more bingos as I possibly can, or as many more squares filled out. Now, I showed you I do have some squares that I will be able to fill out. Will I actually make a bingo? Who knows? I'm just trying to fill out as many squares as possible. I'm not even looking at the bingos, to be perfectly honest with you. I will just be happy if I'm able to complete what I can complete. So there you have it, guys. That is my, I guess, first and final, this is my first update on HRCYED, which is crazy. I've actually filmed 2 videos of me talking about HRCYED before and just never got them posted. But we've got about a little over a month left to go. I think about a month and a half, I think, realistically. So will I finish any more? Will I get any more check boxes? I don't know. I will hopefully come back on once HRCYED round 2 is officially over and update y'all if there's anything to update you. I might just come in and be like, yeah, nothing changed. Hopefully though I can come in and say I at least got a bingo. That would be awesome, but yeah, don't know if that's a possibility or not. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna go now. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Links to everything will be in the description, including Q's video and HRCYED information. I'm pretty sure she's probably bringing this back for next year. And I guess you can still technically participate because you could like backfill things. So anyways, all the information is down below. Thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. See, even the crow says, you know, thanks for watching. Keep telling you, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more content by me. And leave a comment. Let me know, are you participating in HRCYED? Have you done year 1? What are your thoughts? Give me all of the comments down below. I love to know what you guys are thinking. I love to chat with you. So if you don't have anything else to say but still want to let me know that you were here, leave a calendar emoji, because we only have like a month and a half left to go. The calendar year is sneaking up on me pretty quickly, so leave a calendar emoji in the comments below. Thank you guys again for hanging out with me. I appreciate you guys so much, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.